guys, Father Time here at Memphis, Tennessee at the FedEx facility, and evidently we missed the rush. I thought I downloaded a bunch of static aircraft. Gone. They're not here. I also have a scenery pack, so maybe that scenery pack's overriding it. But it doesn't matter. Very excited. This is the Flight Sim Studio 727-200 freighter. An airplane I didn't fly the freighter version, but I flew the 72 as an engineer in 1987. Brings back a lot of memories. Actually, the instrumentation with the INS uploaded reminds me a lot of the KC-135 back when I flew that in the mid-80s with just the INS and basic instrumentation. Similar autopilot too. But it's been a long time. That's a long time ago. But let's go inside. It's my fourth flight. First three, I got to my destination. I had a lot of trouble with the autopilot. I tried the optional auto throttle system. That wasn't too good. So anyway, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to make a video and show you guys what I know. This is not going to be a comprehensive pre-flight. There are guys, Mustafa being one, that you could download if you really want to run this engineer panel. This is a 3-person airplane, and therefore you have a flight engineer. And that flight engineer handled the checklist, read the checklist to the FO. At some point they might hand it up for the before landing or something, but they basically ran the airplane in terms of checklists, doing all the pre-flights. But we have some automated stuff that basically is your flight engineer. That's what I think of it as. It's called just a little iPhone. That's your flight engineer running the checklist. Co-pilots, then you're down to really a 2-person airplane like every other Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on. So it's a handful. You can see that there's a checklist right there. There's some charts that are actually pretty accurate. I've used those. But if you really want to know what you're doing, here, I'm just going to show you this. Here's a quick start guide. I'll leave the link to this in the description below. It is everything you need to know. Great documentation by Flight Sim Studio. Really. They've got a welcome pack. Got a quick start guide. Got some critical numbers on here about starting. Taxi, takeoff at 1,000 feet, 140 to 160. At cleanup, in our case, it's going to be 1,500. Set 90%, accelerate to 250, flaps to 2 at 190, and passing 200 to bring the flaps up. Here are your flap speeds. I've written all these down on a piece of paper, as I always do, to have them handy as I proceed. I'm going to do a lot of this. I'm going to try to work the autopilot, try to do a nice ILS there. So, situational awareness is a little more difficult with this airplane because you don't have an FMS map to be looking at. So you got to work. It's like old school. I am going to program the INS, not the FMS, which is an option, which I'll show you. And there's our route of flight. We're going to take off out of Memphis. We're heading off to the north. We're going to take probably a turn out towards here and then up to the northeast before up to Keller, Jackson, and on over to Nashville for the ILS. That's what my plan is. I may take some shortcuts in here. We'll take it. We'll check out tuning the VORs, programming the INS, and so forth. All good stuff. Here's the PDF. I've already taken the liberty of putting in my ramp coordinates, which is interesting. Right-clicking here, you don't get any kind of position. So I had to kind of interpolate using these up here, and that's the coordinates I came up with, triangulating at the FedEx facility. Should be 100 airplanes over here. Don't know what happened. That would have been cool. I had big plans for this. And the taxi out, we're actually going to push back and come on out this way. Go up to Yankee, come down Yankee. Nice long taxiway. Gives a chance to talk. We'll take off on 36 right on radar vectors for the departure. Now, when you do the SimBrief flight plan, guys, you can program it for VORs. But what I did, you might want to think about this, I programmed it for VOR only on the routing, but it just came up with a couple going to Nashville. So I actually put in, I want to show you this up front, for my go to Nashville, ILS 2 left, and ILS 2 left, I'm sorry guys. I put in these points, FIDS, which is the IAF, that's point number 4, Dickens, Dobbs 5, 6, 7, Nashville, I do believe it's 7. I think we just went with 6. Holly Springs is 1, McKellar's 2, and then Fids is 3, Dickens 4, Dobbs 5, Nashville 6. 0 is the present position. So those are what I'll be putting in. I've got the VOR freaks here, and I've got the, this is the IEF, as I mentioned. This is the FAF, and I've got a couple of notes here. Here's the ILS freak over at Nashville. This is a big one. It's a big, big one. So when I go to this checklist, let's go inside, I'll show it to you. I'm gonna grab the iPhone. Think of this as your flight engineer. First of all, check all 5 of these boxes down here. Just does some automation for you. Fuel feed, pax temp, airspeed bugs, EPR limits. Sets EPR limits according to the flight phase based on weight and takeoff. Engineers set those powers. Pilots will get it in the vicinity. Engineer will reach up and fine tune it. It's got fuel heat too. Think of this as your flight engineer, this procedural flow for the crew manager, who is the flight engineer. But this one right here tends to bite me. On all 3 of my flights, I got the altitude warning. Let me show you why. And I'm going to tell you this because there's 3 horns that go off that, if you don't know what you're doing, which I don't, I shouldn't say that. I'm getting there, guys. I am getting there. Let's go up and take a look at this engineering panel. I'm going to set our cruise altitude in here. 25 is a pressurization panel, and our landing altitude, I do believe, is 600. So I'll set that in here. It's 599 over at Nashville. And I want the cabin altitude, it says 6,000. But anyway, so there we go, ballpark. That's set up. This switch right here, it says ground and flight. After takeoff, the engineer goes to flight to pressurize the aircraft. All 3 flights, I didn't do it in time. So really, it's going to gear up, flaps up, after takeoff checklist, reach down and hit just go in and hit the after takeoff, and the engineer will pressurize the aircraft. Otherwise, you get this horn, and you go over, you go, oh, darn it, and you hit it after takeoff. They shut that, and it takes a long time for the cabin to get pressurized. So I want to make sure of that. I'm going to put right in the cruising altitude. Let's not challenge ourselves too much here. Put that in 25,000. That's your altitude. And that's what our plan is. And let's start the pre-flight. And when you do that, now, like I say, there are guys who are already taking it upon themselves to learn all the entire pre-flight. All that documentation, you can see them doing an APU fire test now. You'll see some fuel pumps moving, some hydraulic pumps moving as the flight engineer does their pre-flight. Captain, the FO come out. They're shutting down the APU and restarting it, which is unusual, but that's what I got for doing the crew manager. Let me show you something here also. A quick start guide, as I mentioned. That's your quick start, but they have all your checklists that you ever wanted. There's your before start expanded checklist. Describes everything. So you can actually go through and do your entire pre-flight engineer, APU start. There are guys that are already practicing this. For right now, I don't want to do all 3 jobs. I want to do the pilot, the captain's job with the FO, and have the engineer just be my crew manager, and hence the name crew manager on the phone. So that's one tool you have available to you. See, it's in yellow, that means they're running it. Reds, they're not doing anything. Yellow, they're running the checklist. In green, it's complete. Before you take off, captain should be able to look over their shoulder, see all the lights out. So that's what we'll be going for before takeoff, and then we know it's all been done. But we're going to run all our checklists, and let's not forget that. So that's one horn, the altitude warning. Another horn that you get is when you go to idle on descent, you get a gear horn. The engineer is kind of tasked with sitting here and always pulling the silence right there. So if you want to go to idle power, you pull that. And if you didn't get that as they brought the power back, the captain would kind of jerk the head around and look at you like, come on, dude. Otherwise, you get that horn as you get down to lower power settings. And the last one is if you're coming in and you've got the speed brake extended and you're in a landing configuration, you'll get a horn. You go, what is going on? And a lot of times it's your speed brake. So speed brake, gear horn, pressurization. Those are the 3. You can hear them doing all their cargo fire tests and everything right there. Okay, you can see it's still in yellow. They're taking their time. And I'm taking my time doing the INS. It's going to take a while, guys. So what I'm going to do is bring this up. This is the point. These are points I'm going to be working with. I'm going to be reading these coordinates right here. This is our present position. That'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And That's all. So I'm going to move this off the screen. I have a wide screen, so I'm going to move it way over here, and that's where I'll be getting all my coordinates. Okay, so let's go. Wow, the pre-flight is complete. Let's go to GSX. I'm sorry, the other one I want to do first. Reach down here. So there's your phone. You get it down here. Here's where you get your clipboard, and you come back over, and we're going to run the tabs here. All right, so let's go GSX, and I'm going to go request boarding.
Boarding requested.
FedEx, we're at the FedEx ramp. GSX handling by FedEx, and here they come. I love this stuff. So cool. There's a cargo loader. There's stairs coming for the crew. They're going to ask us to open the forward door when this guy gets there. So we're going to come in. And let me see if I can remember how to do this. Control 9. Yep, there it is. And you can open up the Power Master. Put that up. And cargo door. Open it. Want to see what's going on? You can open this little door here. Door is opening up. How's that? Can't beat this stuff, man. Can't beat it. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's go inside.
Do you want to board crew?
Crew entry door is opening too. I mean, unbelievable. Okay. All right, the door's open. You'll get that message until it finally opens. Let's look at some of the others. So you got the entry door is open. Aft stairs open. Cones. I'm going to remove the cones and remove the chocks and make sure the brakes are parked. Okay. Ground power. I'm not going to connect it. We've got the APU is running. That's fine. Panel state is on APU. Left seat, UTC, auto throttle switch. Co-pilot callouts are active. Do not, auto throttle, if you press it, it comes up here. Let me show it to you. I used that last flight, and I tried it, and it sent me into some sort of a crazy stall. You can see that you go engaged. Right now it's disengaged. You go to engage. I was at cruise. Supposed to only use it in cruise, not on descent or climb, and it was crazy. So I'm not going to use that today. You guys are welcome to play with that. I'm just not going to use it. Nav equipment. You've got the INS in here, which is very old school, and then GNS. It's an FMC. You'll recognize from a lot of the other aircraft. And that's we're not going to use that. Because INS and VORs and Imperial units, and that's everything on that page. Pre-flight. My SimBrief username, if you never flew it, is in there. Just click it. Loading. Should be Memphis to Nashville. There it is. Now to load it, just hit this forward arrow.
Your crew has boarded.
And to roll the fuel, that arrow. If you want it done, see how it's 11 minutes, 5 minutes. If you want it done instantaneously, press these arrows, and boom, you're done. Here's our weights plan. It's all changing. But we're going to let it load at a normal rate. All right, takeoff. Once again, click this arrow. It loads everything. The current ATIS, except I'm going to go 36 right is the current runway. If you wanted to do an intersection takeoff, you can just change the number. Flaps limits 15. Setting EPR and trim. Some guys like to do it manually, don't know why. Let's take a look at our airspeed bugs right there, manual bugs. Set speed. There we go. V1 rotate. You can see it's very low. And set EPR and trim. Now let me see something. I'm curious of one thing. What if pre-flight we said let's do it all right now, finished and finished. Let me go to takeoff. Yeah. So you don't want to do those bugs until you're done fueling. Interesting. I think I've been having much lower. So now you can see set speeds. That's a little better. V2 is 130. Staff trim. You want to set EPR and trim. If you look here, that's a takeoff trim range. It's rated 0 now. Set EPR and trim. And it's 5.75. You see it's in the trim range, takeoff range. So I set EPR and trim. So that's a very good point, which one I hadn't considered. is make sure that you are finished fueling and loading before you hit go to the takeoff page and start loading up bugs for lighter weights. I have not been doing that. Flight descent calculator, maybe I'll look at it. I don't find it valuable. Sorry. And then landing, same thing, you update this. We'll look at that when we get going. You can go charts, and you can go K-Memphis if you wanted, and you're good to go. All right, so loading the GNS, the INS here. All right, I'm not an expert, guys. Stream of consciousness. We're going to go right here. We're going to go standby. We're not going to go align just yet because I have to enter the present position, which is 0. All right, so I'm going to put in the present position. I showed you all the present positions and the labels for what number they were. It's important you write those down because you're going to need them during the flight. So I'm going to go north. You do the north first. I'm going to go to position here. This position. I'm going to go north. 3503.5. You can imagine how important it was to double check these. Enter 3503.5. Then west, do west first. 8958.3. Enter, insert rather. That's position, and it is done. So 0. So let's go to 1, and I'm going to look over here and read the coordinates. I'm going to get this off the screen so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Holly Springs is 3446.2. So I'm going to go waypoint. That was our initial position. Now I can go to waypoint. Number 1, north. So that was, you only go to position for your initialization. And I can go align now that I've done my initialization. So it's aligning. When I get a green light, I can go to nav, which I forgot to do as well one time. So 3446.2. I did north. 3446.2. Okay, north. 3446.2. There it is. Insert it. And then west. 8929.8. 8929.8. Insert it. Good. Waypoint 2 is the McKellar Jackson VOR. North 3536.2. Insert. West 8854.6. That's good. That one's done. Number 3. Number 3 is the FIDS, which is the IAF. North 3557.0. And then west 8645.1. It's good. All right, point number 4. Dickens. North 36,000. North 36. Insert it. West 8643.9. So if the ILS is off the air and we want to do a visual, I'll have it ready. All right, that's good. Position 5 is the FAF. North, which is Dobbs, for 2 left. North 3601.5. Yeah, we used to do this. I remember on the KC-135 doing this stuff. West 8643.4. Naturally, we're going to be on the ILS by now, God willing. But if it goes off the air and we're visual, we could use it. And the last one I'll put in is Nashville. And north 3607.5. North. Insert it. And then west 8640.7. insert it. So we got all 6 of our points in. So if we wanted to go direct somewhere in there, instead of flying to Holly Springs to Southside, clear direct McKellar, we would go 0 to 2 on our box. We go waypoint change 0 to 2. Waypoint change 0 to 2. Now here's the problem. I got to get to a line eventually. So you get all sorts of things. I'm going to leave this in waypoint, this in auto. I've got this in a line. When it's a line, I've got to go to nav. So something else I should put here on my sheet, things I forgot, right, is nav. A little reminder. So after takeoff check and nav, those are 2 ones that I have tended to forget. All right, so the INS is loaded. We're waiting on the green light, and unfortunately, I don't believe the engineer has anything to do with that. Oh, and Navigraph, sign out. We were all signed in. Okay, looks good. All right, so did not cage the standby attitude indicator. Let's see how we're doing outside. Looks like they're pretty much ready. So let's go to GSX. They're probably going to ask us to boarding complete, prepare for pushback. They're going to ask us to close the door. So let's go back to do that. I have some presets here. And I'm going to just shut this door close. See the
Hello,
door
Captain.
is closing.
We are ready for pushback.
And wait, this door will shut eventually. You see the stairs starting to move. There it is.
Departure checks completed.
I should take you guys for a little ride through the cabin, just in case this is the first one you ever watched. Let's take a look through here. Get my my drone ready to go. Look what we have. These poor guys. I'm so sorry, guys. You might want to get off. We'll close that hatch.
Locking gear.
Looks like we're all ready. So we're going to push back nose to the right. And then we're going to take this long taxiway all the way out for takeoff on 36 right. That's our plan. So far, so good. But don't want to do the pushback just yet, because let's go inside. And the doors are shut. I'll close this cover. I'll close this door over here. Good. Looks like they're ready down there, huh? Align. I'm going to go to nav on this box here. Ready, nav. All right, let's go up here and go before start check. It's going to go yellow, right? Let's take a look what's going on over here. Engineers testing everything. I know the GSX is up here, guys. Immersion. I get guys complaining about, that they can see my GSX menu. I'm not worried about that. So can I. But this guy's running everything before start checklist. But you can see this is in ground, so we're not going to pressurize unless we do that after takeoff checklist. He's doing his tests. I wonder if I could do this anyway. If we can go to flight mode. I don't know. Sure would be nice if we pressurized. I'm going to close out this for now. Another technique is just to leave this up here, right? All right, so let's say we call FedEx RAM for pushback, and they say, Roger, clear to push. Want to start engines before pushback? No. No's right. Here we go.
Release parking brakes, please. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
All right, clear to start. Let's go to the overhead. So far, so good, guys. Go to the overhead. We're going to start 3, then 1, then 2. Go to ground. Right there. Engineer has an oil pressure light back here. They'd be yelling at you if you tried to start without an oil pressure rise. But we have a light here too, and I kind of just use that one. It's pretty telling. For the oil, there we go. We have oil pressure, and you want to make sure you're at least 20%. We use max motoring. So 3. Get a good start. I've got myself in the very tiny captain position here. Go outside. All right, looks pretty good. It's back to the overhead. Number 3 is started. Go to number 2, number 1 rather. Go to ground. Here it goes. Looking for 20% N1. When you see the light go out, that means we have some oil pressure. Engineers watching the oil pressure back there. Minimum of 20%. A lot of guys use max motoring. That keeps the EGT down, especially if you're on a tight turn. Few levers coming up. Let the engineer monitor that as EGT rises. And we're going to go up here and take a right on the engine.
Please set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
All right, those 2 are stabilized. Let's go to the overhead. Close the cover. We put on engine ice now, guys. If you were 10 degrees Celsius, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, invisible moisture. Looking for 20% and the light out. Yeah, so what I'm trying to teach you guys is what I learned in school. I watched some videos. It's how to get this thing going. I will do stream of consciousness videos, and my guys know that somewhere in there'll be some nuggets of wisdom that'll be beneficial to you. That not being one of them right there.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass
Let
pin
that start
removed.
up.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
There they go. It's funny, I've been flying wide-body aircraft, even Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm on the MD-11, TFDi MD-11 Quality Assurance team. I have been for last year, and 777. Of course, I retired off that. So it's weird being, yeah, thank you. I flashed the light. Yeah, love you. Bye-bye. Never change. So we got 3 normal starts. Engine ice is not required. Let's do after start. Let's take a look over here. A lot of lights on, right? After start. What you got over here, buddy? They're doing a series of tests. They're paralleling the generators right now, putting those online. They're going to turn on the fuel pumps. There's a lot of tests they're doing here. There we go. Generators are all parallel. He's shutting down the APU. He's got all lights. So the captain looks back, sees all the lights out, and the APU is shutting down. You see it's still yellow. APU is not shut down. Flaps are not down. So let's do, after start, we'll do the taxi check after that. Pretty cool. Really great add-on. It's a handful, though. It honestly is a handful. All right, let's do taxi check. There we go. Flaps coming down. Here they come. And we just check the flight controls for freedom of movement. FO usually checks the tops, the ailerons and spoilers, the bottoms, and the captain checks the rudders back and forth. All good. Taxi check is complete. APU is shut down. So let's do before takeoff check. Nope, before takeoff, I think that's when you take the runway. All right, so I am going to turn this off for now. Remember, it's down here. And we're ready to go. So this is meant just to get you up and running, guys. In FedEx ramp, FedEx 123 taxi. So yeah, roger, contact ground. All right. Memphis ground, FedEx 123 taxi off the FedEx ramp. Yeah, taxi. 236 right via Yankee. 236 right via Yankee. Here we go. All right, so let's go up to the lower overhead. We'll turn on our taxi light. Just looking around here one last time. Lights are on. Oh, I forgot to close the cover. Everything is good. If you want to spin all the lights up, it's a pretty nice day here. I just don't even know what they're controlling. You can read it. Overhead. Control stand. Probably should have done this before we get going, right? Yeah, we'll just get them all out for now. All right, let's go. Brakes are coming off. Let's go. %, breakaway thrust, N1. It's a little high. I think a taxi's great. It's been my experience. Taxis very nicely. As you can tell, I'm pretty impressed with the product so far. But it's a lot, though. It really is. So, takeoff profile. Let's talk about that. 1,000 feet. It's going to be V2. Your initial pitch rotation, there's a tail skid, but easy to catch a tail on this airplane. It's not much clearance. So I just rotate to about 6 to 7 degrees nose high till it gets airborne. Once it gets airborne, we get the positive brake called gear up. Then you can bring it up close to 20 degrees at this light weight to maintain V2 up to about 1,000. And then you lower the nose to maintain 160 to 180 to your cleanup altitude. In Europe, that'd be 3,000 above the ground, 3,600 MSL here. But in the U.S., it's usually 1,500 above the ground, unless there's some altitude problems with terrain. So at 1,500 feet above the ground, we'll lower the nose, accelerate, clean up the flaps. Flaps 2 at 190, we're at flaps 5. Flaps 2 at 190, flaps 0 at 200. Left and right is clear, cleared across. You got a monitor tower, yeah, roger, monitor tower, FedEx 123. So, let's go over that again. So easy rotation, 6 to 7 degrees, positive brake, gear up, get airborne. You'll be up near 20 degrees, maintaining V2 into 1,000 feet, then lower the nose to probably about 5 degrees, pick up 160 to 180, and fly that airspeed until your cleanup altitude, which in the guide it says 3,000. That's a European departure for a noise abatement. Here we can do 1,500. Lower the nose, probably about 5 degrees nose high. Let it accelerate up to 250, bringing the flaps up at 190 up to 2, and flaps 0 at 200. And then what are you guys going to remind me to do? Yes, after takeoff climb. But I've already gone to flight, so I think we're going to be okay on that one. Let's see. Now you would think that was part of the checklist, but I don't think the engineer, I didn't see it on his checklist. I don't think the engineer did that till they were airborne. That's why it's important to do the after takeoff checklist, which does a couple of things. It probably does that. It also centers the gear handle. So gear handle will be up, and after takeoff, he'll center that to the neutral position. And they'll do stuff with the pressurization, fuel burn back there, and off we go. Oh, you know what I need to do before I do much else? I'd like to preset the VORs. I didn't do that. I've written down all the frequencies. 12.4 and 18.5. 12.4, 18.5, 14.1. Oh, such immersion by Captain Richard. Such immersion. I'll do that at the end of the runway. Should have set up my radios, squawk. We'll do all that. In fact, why don't we just stop here before I forget? We'll get that done. I'm not going to taxi and do that. 12.4, 14.85. All right, so now 12.4. That's in blue. 14.85 is backup, and on number 2, 14.85, which is the second VOR, right? And 14.1 is Nashville. Those are our 3 VORs. We're not going to do the radio frequencies, but suffice to say that's how you set them. And there's your comm panel right there. All right. Looking good. Let's go. I had the same thing last flight. I did 3 things wrong. I didn't go to nav on the INS. I didn't do the after takeoff checklist until it was too late. I thought I had everything. Gear up, flaps up, and then I didn't do it. Therefore, it stayed in ground, didn't pressurize, and the rest was history. Bugs here, you can set this airspeed bug. Our initial airspeed is going to be 250. Just kind of a reminder. Here we go. And the heading is 360. That's set. That's going to be our initial runway heading. You could go flight director on, heading mode. At least you'll have that for a reminder. It's not autopilot. Working that autopilot's a handful, guys. Here's where your nose gear is, right about it here. You know, on the MD-11 and the 777, 73, it's under the speed tape, vertical speed tape. Here it's right there. I think on the Airbus A320s it's over here as well, to the right of the PFD. I don't know, I don't have much. I've checked out a couple of times during my Microsoft short career here in Microsoft Flight Simulator on the A320 Phoenix. Loved it, but I got involved with other things. And to be honest with you, it kind of been slowed down by the TFDi project. I've done a lot of work over there. Plus, I have a life, so and I have a wife and a wife. So I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot other than that. Making up a lot of videos now, though, that I'm from underneath the non-disclosure agreement. Okay, taxi. Here we are. All the way down to the end. We could take an intersection takeoff. Naturally, we're so light, but we're going to taxi out, give us a fighting chance. So let's recap. I'm going to set about 55%, make sure the engines come up evenly. I'm going to then bring them up to the ballpark EPR bug, which is 2.0 or so. The engineer would fine tune them. Like say set power, or set thrust. He would reach up and fine tune them. Then a lot of the engineer hanging over the throttle quadrant. And then he would say thrust set, and the FO or the pilot flying would put their hands on the throttle. And then we're going to go at 90% at clean up altitude. We're which in our case today is 1500. So it's V2, which is around 130. Wow, it's light. That's until 1,000 feet, then 160 to 180. So cleanup, which is 1500. Then lower the nose, accelerating to 250. Flaps 2 at 190. Flaps 0 at 200. That's our plan. We'll get to 250. We'll get the autopilot on. We'll get our vectors, and we'll be underway to Nashville. And FedEx 123, line up and wait. Line up and wait, FedEx 123. All right, guys, let's do this. Ready for takeoff. You can see it's yellow. Let's go to here. There you go. Anti-skid's on. Lights are on. Everything else looks good. Brakes are on takeoff. Spoilers are armed. I am going to leave this here. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it here so that I remember to do the after takeoff checklist. Just a technique. We do our finals clear. Line up and wait. And FedEx 123, Memphis Tower, you're clear for takeoff. Maintain runway heading. Clear for takeoff, runway heading, FedEx 123. Finals clear, 36 right, and we are clear for takeoff. So yeah, this is just meant to be kind of a quick start, beginner's guide. What I learned in school today. Never flew it as a real pilot. I've pretty much flown everything else. I did fly as an engineer. I did fly the KC-135, which is very similar. That was mid-80s. That was a long time ago. It's yeah, 85, 86. All right. So far, so good. We found the runway. Let's see if we can get a video out of this. 55%. Coming up evenly. Pilot's flying, brings it up, gets it right around takeoff power, and the FO fine-tunes it since the captain just put in too much power. Set 2.0, set thrust set, a little high, but it's okay. Check. A little forward pressure, aileron into the wind. Nice and easy, just about 5 or 6 degrees. That tail's right there. There we go. Now you can start bringing it up.
Positive rate.
You're up. All right, so I'm a little bit hot, but that's okay. I'll do 160 to 180 until cleaned up. So we're going to be up there 15 to 20 degrees high. I'll let you take a look there. There it is, 160 to 180. And when we get to 1500, I'll lower the nose, start accelerating to 250. It's 1500, yeah, that's 1500 above the ground, where at 600 is 2100. You can see it's about 12 degrees. There's 2100, lower the nose, set 90%. 90% for the rest of it. It's only like a half a throttle with bracket. This 190 flaps 2. 200 flaps up. Set 90%. There you go. Accelerate to 250. Trim your friend. After takeoff checklist, watch this. It's going to neutralize, and that should pressurize it nicely. All right, there's 250 or so. We're getting there. Let's come back inside. Let's go inside. Let's go to the autopilot. With the autopilot on, and IS hold, and altitude hold. It's armed. All right, let's go to nav. We'll be cleared direct from 0 to 1, and there it goes. So we got 250. We're going 0 to 1, which is the Holly Springs VOR, and that should be on the number 1 needle. You see that it's not coming up just yet. Hey, that was good. And the after takeoff checklist is still still being completed. You can hear it going. Let's hope we don't get, there it is, that takeoff checklist is complete. I get rid of that. Let's see if for once we got it. So what do I have here? I have the airplane on autopilot's on. I have it in aux nav. I have it in indicator speed hold. You could have done it in vertical speed, and when you got to with the autopilot on, I want to just hand fly it till 250. And here we go, big turn over towards the Holly VOR. Let's go to the map, and you can see where we are here. Here, Memphis. We'll just do this so you can see it. There we go. And we're heading over towards the Holly Springs VOR, and then up towards the McKellar. All right, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. And let's, I'm gonna go back here while I'm shooting my mouth off. Cabin pressure. Looks like it's holding, right? It's holding. Looks like the FO, the flight engineer has his act together over there. We're out of 10. Now we're out of 10. So now what I'm going to do here is I got to accelerate. I'm going to go to vertical speed. I'm going to give you guys a view of what I'm doing here. I'm going to lower the nose to about 1,000 feet per minute by scrolling down here. See the vertical speed coming. I don't know how much that is. Get it to about 1,000. And my target speed now is going to be around 300. I'll set that as a reminder. We're accelerating, and my goal, it should be about 1,000 feet per minute. It's a little better. One more click. There's the VOR is up. If you want to center it, you could. It's the #1 needle. There you go. Back up. And when I get to 300, I'm going to go back to indicate airspeed hold. Now, I'm talking like I know what I'm doing, guys, and I kind of do. I kind of do. I should have 90% set. Number 2's a little low. There we go, 90% N1. All right, there's 300. Come back down and go to IAS hold. And my altitude is arm, by the way. See, it says arm. Here we go, climbing out at 300. I think it says somewhere in there you go to 290, but I think it's above 25, but we're just going to climb out at 300. Now we don't have auto throttles, so when we level off, we'll have to make sure we get our act together. All right, let's start looking at, we got a ways to go. Nashville, ATIS, weather, ATIS. 3006, ILS landing to north. We'll expect 2 left. Clearance delivery, you don't need that. All right, so information Papa. And our approach, we're not going to do a nav, an arrival. You're welcome, you don't have to see that. We're going to do ILS 2 left. And decision height is on the radar altimeter is 200. So I set that here. 200. It's radio altimeter. All right, so next thing I'm looking for is climbing out at 300, indicated airspeed, autopilot's on.
Crossing 17,500.
Yep, so out of, the reason they make that call is so that we're going to go 2992 out of 18. I just pressed my B key there, set it 1, 2, 3 times. Guys, if you want a good thing to put this thing on is distance and time. So it's 5 miles and a half minute until we get to point one. Point one is Holly Springs. Then it's going to go to McKellar. Big left-hand turn. There they are. It's going to do a big left-hand turn up to McKellar. And there we go. It's turning. You see it go from 1 to 2. Just wanted you to see that. Let's go to the overhead. Make sure our lights are out. We did do the after takeoff checklist. Strobes are still on. Can't tell. Yeah, those lights are off. All right, we're good. We're pressurizing. All right, well, that's the first flight that I haven't lost pressurization. Now, number 2 needle, if you remember, let's go ahead down here, and we'll put in, it's 1485 on both of them, and that's Nashville 14.1. So over here, I can put in 14.1, number 1, 1485, 14.1, Nashville, and on number 2, same thing, 1485, 14.1, 1485 selected on both. We don't need Nashville in there yet. Although, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe what I'll do is go to Nashville here. It'll give me a distance from the from Nashville in the DME when it picks it up. It's going to be a while. How's our power doing? Sometimes it moves around. Engineer is constantly referring to their charts down here on the table and balancing the fuel. See the fuel is balanced, and they're setting powers based on your altitude, standard DEV, and everything. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some math as we get going to see when we want to start down and make our crossing. Remember, they do have this this little automatic thing here. Got to be honest, I used it once. It was okay. Where's my landing? I can do this. Set EPR. Set V speed. That's for flaps 30. Yeah, let's just do I'll do a flaps 40. Set speeds. So the bugs are set. One to go. Let's come in here. Make sure we don't miss our level off. Because what we're going to have to do is bring the power back as we level off. To maintain 300 knots. So we took off around, 90-something%. Oh, that got a little high there. My feeling is I think it goes down at 10. That's kind of what I've been observing. So here we are at 92. If you bring it down 10% N1, there it is, altitude capture. It's leveling off. I'm going to bring this back to 82. And Captain usually says set cruise power. Engineer reaches up and sets it. The guys who've been on this a long time do the fuel flows. They deal a lot mostly with fuel flows. So it's a little high in the power. We are accelerating. So we went 90 at 50 at cleanup altitude, either 3,000 or 1,500 we may have set. When we leveled off for cruise power, it's down there like 80. I'm just making that up. That's kind of my observation there. We'll see how that holds. Still no Nashville reading yet. We have 39 miles until point 2, and point 2 was McKellar. And if we have the correct frequency, 1485, I don't know if we're picking it up. So if in real life we'd have to ask for Vector, say, hey, we're not picking up, but we have GNS, INS, so we can use that. But if we didn't have INS, we just request the Vector, tell them we weren't picking up McKellar VOR. You could fly outbound on the Holly Springs VOR using the MAG course. This is not an airway, by the way. Using the MAG course of 03 032. You can see we're about at 032. I wonder if I could just set in. So this is going to be about a 032. That's what we should be flying inbound. We'd fly that outbound on the Holly Springs until we picked up McKellar. But we should have picked up McKellar by now, 30 miles. So looks to me like it's off the air. Yeah, we're halfway point. Because 40 miles, even if it's a low altitude VOR, I have the correct frequency. 1485. Yeah, I do. I don't know. And when Nashville pops up, it should pop up here because we do have Nashville 14-1 set on the number 2 needle there. McKellar here. And I'm just doing Nashville for situational awareness. You can see that 82%. I lowered another 10%. That's holding cruise Mach pretty good. So I make a PA if there was anybody on board, but it's just the 2 of us today. Let's brief up the approach at Nashville. ILS 2 left. The date is it's 11-1. ILS 2 left at Nashville. 12 November 21. 1099 and 2021. All right, 1099.021. We can set that over here. 1099, 109. LD's 1485. 1099. Just getting that ready. As a matter of fact, we're not picking up that VOR. So what I'm going to do is over here and come nav 1, set 1099 as well. Since we're not even picking up, we'll have that ready to go. Both should be in VOR. Right now we're both on Nashville since we're not picking up McKellar. We're just doing on INS. You know what I didn't do the overhead, but you know they would have told us, is set the squawk, turn the altimeter on. I didn't do that. That's okay. No harm, no foul. They would have told us. Oh, look at, there we go. We just picked up Nashville. So we are 124 miles from Nashville. Nashville, so 24,000 feet to lose times 3 is 72 plus 10 is 82. So at 82 miles, we should be starting down. 82 miles from Nashville. We're still navigating to McKellar. This is Jackson, Tennessee. At McKellar, we'll be making a right-hand turn over towards Nashville. Might be Jackson, Mississippi. I don't know. All right, back to the briefing. We only have 8 miles to the turn. I have Bob fly the airplane while I did this. All right, Bob, autopilot's on. We're navigating. We got 6 miles to the turn, and next point is the IAF. Roger. Sounds good. You know, FedEx probably gets a lot of stuff late at night. Probably get pretty much whatever they want, I would guess. I don't know. Any of you FedEx guys can tell me. All right, so bid's at 4, so we're at 25, so that's 21,000 feet to lose. And you add 10 to slow down. So 21,000 times 3 is 63, plus 10 is 73,000 miles from 73 miles from bid. We'd want to start down. Dickens at 3, Dobbs at 2,500. We've got a 021 and 090, so we can go in here. There's our turn. .021 is set. you can see Nashville. We're going to be on a left intercept, like right in here. It's a FIDS for the capture. Oh, let's talk about capture. I'm new at this, but I think I can explain that. So we're going to be somewhere on, as we approach the IEF, we'll go into heading select by clicking there. Make sure the heading's at the top of the case. Heading select, now we're on a dog leg, and you can arm manual glide slope right here. And that'll say, so auto glide slope rather, auto glide slope. And that'll, you can do a localizer only right there, or you can go auto glide slope and it'll do the ILS for it. We'll see if I can get that to work. All right, so we got going to Nashville, and we have to make sure we got both radios to 021 and 1099 when the time comes. Now, we're going to the IEF, 98 miles. I just told you that we have to get down to 4. We're at 25, so that's 21,000 feet to lose. Times 3, the 3-to-1 rule, that's 63. Add 10 miles to slow down, that's 73. So 73 miles out, we'll want to start our descent. 2 ways to do the descent. You can do it in vertical speed or IAS. In the IAS, if you go to IAS, it's going to hold whatever airspeed you have, and you just bring the throttles back, and it'll hold the pitch to maintain that, and you just watch your vertical speed. We can try that. And right in here, I tried, and we are going 2 to 3, which is the IAF. Did we go into heading select here? I don't like what it just did here, guys. Hang on 1 second. Did I push something? Now we are in AuxNav. Altitude's engaged. No, I didn't go heading select. To go to heading select, it'll be right here. All right, how about the automatic landing checklist here? Conditions, landing. Set the altimeter 3007. Winds 320 or what? What? Oh, that's the current altitude. So let me see what the actual winds are. Weather are 030 at 6. 030 at 6. Temperature 27. Don't need that. Set EPR, set speeds. There we go, landing speeds. All right, so that was landing. So gross weight, flaps 40, landing checklist, landing distance available, 5,000 feet. We got a big old long runway. We set our speed, we set our go around EPR limitations. Let's not miss our descent. 80 miles, there's 70, so we request lower. Let's say they give it to us. So I'm going to set in here 4,000 in the altitude window. It'd be nice if I could do this nicely. Let me do this, guys. $4,000. I'm going to go, we got IAS, let's go to IAS. We'll go IAS hold. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta figure out how to get rid of this one, right? Arming the altitude. The IAS. And bring the power back. And I kind of remember that happening. And I'm gonna probably go for like 2,000 feet per minute to start off. So what I'm doing is adjusting the throttles. Because remember, it's just holding the airspeed with pitch. Right now that's too much. Bringing the throttles up a bit. Maybe I was at 82, go to 72. Kind of the rule of tens, huh? So you're close to 100%. At cleanup altitude, you go to 90. At level off, you go to 80, descent maybe 70. I don't know. Remember, if you get the horn, this is how you silence the horn. I'll bring it. I don't want to do it for you, but you silence the horn right there. All right, so we have 65 miles to lose. When we get here, we'll be 19,000, so that's 57 plus 10 is 67. We're a little behind, but we're coming down nicely because we're doing 2,500 feet per minute. Any checklist we can do? I don't think so. I don't think there's a descent check. Well, approach check. Don't know what that does. I think it turns on all your lights. Let's go to the overhead. Better early. Turn on everything. Auto brakes, let's go to medium, min rather. You see we're doing 2,000 feet per minute, let's do another check. 17,000 feet down to 4, that's 51. 51 plus 10 is 67. So we're a little behind, so let's bring the power back a little more. We'll get, because remember we're in IAS hold, so it's holding whatever when we started down, whatever the speed was. Somewhere in there we'll have to slow to 250. And the way we can do that is to go to vertical speed, slow the descent rate. We'll start that at about 12 and make sure we get to 250 and then get back into IAS. And somewhere in here we're going to have to go into heading. You can see that the Nashville is on the needle. It's 021. You can see the head's got to fall on down to 021. So about a 0 on this angle, about a 027 is when we should be starting our turn on the course. You guys see that? So this is Nashville VOR on both needles. It's falling. The head always falls, so it's falling down slowly into 021. So when it gets around 028 or so, we'll know it should be starting. We should be in heading select. All right, there's out of 18. Altimeters 3005. Once, twice, 3 times. Lights are on. Let's do another check. We are out of 17,000 for 4. It's 13,000 feet to lose. 39 miles, 49. So yeah, plus 10, right? 49. So we're doing good now. 49. We'll keep it coming down. Remembering, we added 10 miles. Why do we add 10 miles? Because we got to get down, but we also got to slow down. Get down, slow down. And so this is meant to be a beginner's guide. I hope it helps you. Don't forget, think of this crew manager not as a cheating, as it's an engineer. That's what I think of it as, because the engineer ran all the checklists and ran the pressurization, reset the throttles, made sure the checklists were all done, called checklists open, called checklists complete. The captain just did a lot of this, looking back here to make sure for takeoff and landing the lights were all out, and periodically they look back and check, look to see the fuel was even, pressurization schedule, see where depressurizing. He didn't know what he was doing. Some of them did. So let's go. Let's go out of 13. We're out of 13. We'll have 9,000 feet to get down to 4. That's 27 plus 10 is 37. And we're going to be right about 38. So we're doing good. And you know, we can actually start slowing to 250 here, nice and easy, because it takes us a while to set it up. So let's go down here. We're going to go to vertical speed like this. And we're going to back it off a little so you can see. And I'm just going to bring this up. Slow it on down a little. Bring the power back. Oh, watch what happens when I bring the power all the way back. There's a horn. The engineer would usually pull that horn to silence it. All right, this comes 250. Back into IAS. I'm trying. And there we go. Slow down a little early. Set your bug as a reminder. We're really at 260 here. Let me see. Yeah, we're more like 262. I need to bring it back just a little more, 250. So to do that, all I gotta do is go down to the radios, go to vertical speed, come back in here so you can see what I'm doing. Bring up the nose a little bit. See the vertical speed coming up. It's coming back. Nicely, we're out of 10.5. And right about in there, we go back to ISO. Let's do another fix. Out of 10, we go up and we reach. We chime them. I don't know if we have any passengers or not. Desterilize. We're going, let's see, we have 27 miles at, we'll say from 9,000. So at 9,000 times 3 is 15, plus 10 is 25. You know, pretty much good. Pretty much good. And you see the head is falling. So it's getting down there. We're at the 062 radial. Remember, the 021 approximately is the ILS course. So right now we're still in nav aux. We're going to have to get into heading and then arm the auto approach. Out of 8 times 3 is 4,000 feet to lose times 3 is 12, plus 10 is 24. So we're doing good. We'll get down to 4,000 and get ourselves all set up for the intercept on that heading. After landing, never did look at that, guys. We got a clear at runway 2 left. 7,000 feet of runway, no problem. And the cargo parking is over here. So left-hand turn off. We'll make our way into one of these, probably this cargo right here. The left-hand turn off. All right, there's 7, so 3,000 feet to lose times 3 is 9, plus 10 is 19. We're at 20. And we're only at the 059 course so far as the head falls down. Hope you're enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. This airplane's a lot of fun. But you're working. You are working. All right, 6. 2,000 feet to lose times 3 is 6, plus 10 is 16. We're at 17. Looking good. And the head will start falling. The closer we get, we're at 25 miles. It'll start falling more. Now you could, if you wanted, start slowing the descent rate, slowing the aircraft a little. I would set a target of 210 or 200. That way we're in flap range, right? Let's go back down to the radios. We'll go vertical speed.
1,000 to go.
Altitude is armed. I'm going to bring up the vertical speed. Right there, we only have 1,000 to go. Let it start slowing down. A little more. Usually you go 1,000 feet per minute when you're within 1,000 feet. You can see the head. It's falling slowly. We're at 22 miles. We're at 22 miles. And the approach. Where are you, Mr. Approach? Here comes the thing. You can see we're going to be right about at, we're going to be at FIDS. So anywhere in here, you can go heading. So why don't we go down? We're slowing down. You see the speed coming back. Got to be careful. We've gone into altitude capture. Why don't we go down to the radio? Why don't we go to heading select? And I'm going to arm auto glide slope and let it come down. Here we go. I'm going to go. We're going to get down below 200 to get flaps to 2. So we'll set 190. I want to get some flaps on. So we're in heading select, guys, altitude, and we got the approach arm that's indicated there. And we can set our flight director for approach, so we have that available. And they're below 200 flaps 2. And why don't we bring the power in to hold that speed? See what we get. Right about in there. Let's see, what is that? Around 62? Nah, it's probably going to be more like 70% N1. We'll try that right there. All right, the head's falling. We're at the 041, 17 miles out. So far, the glide slope is inoperative. We need to get down to the radios. You guys knew that. And set up this. Set up our course 021. So both ILSs are set. That power has turned out to be a little too fast. 200 is our limit on the speed for flaps 2. So I'm going to bring the power back to 64% or so. Let it slow on down. I got FS Realistic on. I got Active Sky on. We're bouncing around really good. You got low arm, glide slope arm. Remember, at 190, I can go flaps to 5. So I think maybe I'll bring it down to 180. Get down below 190, go flaps 5. Pass 032. Glide slope's alive. Slopes live. It's all armed, that's what you see up here. 190, I need a little more power with the flaps up here. Now we'll try 70, see how that works. 180. A little slow. I gotta accelerate. I'll try to accelerate with about 75. There we go, back to 72%. I'm just using power settings. That's what you fly this thing, you would know. So right now, guys, we're in heading and altitude hold, and we've got everything armed. I even turned on the flight director, so we'll get some guidance out of that. So 021, we're passing to 026. So I would expect that localizer to come off the wall. There it is, right there. There's low capture. There you go, see the low capture in green? Nice. I'm going to get the heading around from this approach. Beautiful. And there's glide slope capture. So I need to bring the power way back on glide slope. Let's get the gear down. And I need to go down here and get speed back. Why don't we get down to approach speed? We'll fly about a 135. Right about at 132. Right about in there. Bring it on back. It's tracking nicely. It's got the glide slope nailed. What is my speeds here? I can go flaps 15 below 160. Remember, it's field elevation. We're still 3,000 above the ground. Yeah, I need to get down below 160 for flaps 15. And I'm going to land at flaps 30, which, yeah, we'll keep it coming down. All right, we've got plenty of time to configure. We're 2,600 feet. Probably send us over the tower. This 160, flaps 15. Uh, 150, I can go flaps 25. It's 50, flaps 25. And there's 140. Flaps 30 before landing checklist. Power's coming up. Probably about 62% on most aircraft. Try 55 for now to keep on slowing. Check our gear, flaps. Looks good. And let's go over here and do this one. Approach. and landing. It's arming the spoilers. It's getting us all ready for landing. Gears down, spoilers are armed, trim, we're stable. There's our speed, pretty close. Pretty nice, huh? And left-hand turn off cargo somewhere up in there. And let's make sure we got our lights all on. We got our, yep, they're all on. Landing clearance is complete. Everyone in the back knows we're landing, who was in the back. Just approach altitude is set, 4,000. Runway heading is set. And 2 left, there we go. Let me see what the power setting is. I'm still learning those. That's a little low, it seems to me. So why don't we set about 60. See how that works.
1,000.
Stable. That's a little low, so how about 62%? I've given myself a couple of knots of buffer. Remember, my approach speed is 131, and I've got 135 set, just because I'm a coward. I wish I could instruct the landing better than I do. We've got spoilers on, motor brakes in, and coming on in. Bouncing around pretty good. Time to do some pilot stuff. Pray for me. Autopilot's off. Still don't have the VASIs. There's the glide slope here. I'm just flying the glide slope, getting a little high. Lower the nose just a tad. Bring back a little power. A little high. A little power off. Lower that nose. Get that glide slope back. There we go. It's coming up nicely. Outside, picking up the VASIs. Red over white. Beautiful. Rhine glide path. I'm outside completely on the VASIs. Their speed's good, power's stable. Red over white.
Minimums. 200.
Landing. Try to get on center line here.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 10.
A little long. Coming in reverse.
I think you can do better than that.
Yeah, I know. That's FS realistic. Thanks, guys. Coming out of reverse at 80. Fully out by 60. Pop them out of reverse. Oh, I got some flaps back there. Don't do any checklists on the runway. Turning left. Start tracking the flaps up. Flaps up after landing checklist. But we do have a way to do that. So let's turn here. Yeah, you cleared across through the miracle of no VATSIM. Let's do the after landing check. Let's get our engineer working on it. After landing. It's gear and flaps up. Spoilers are retracted. He's back there. He's playing with his panel. That doesn't sound right, does it? All right, so as far as going in here, this is the cargo area right here. We're just going to go on over anywhere we can get in there. APU is starting, you can hear it. It's a nice model, guys, it really is. We'll just park up in here. There's 2 cargo areas. This is north cargo, and south cargo is way down there, but we'll just come on in. Looks like after landing check still being run. Lights are turned off. I'll be resetting the trim. We'll just go in here and find a parking spot. You know, it makes me wonder sometimes if something I should be doing here. Let's get the flight director off. And that's why it's taken so long to do the after landing. Or it might very well just be that the APU is starting. Let's see. What do you think? Doesn't really matter, does it? All right, after landing check is complete. Now I'm happy. I'll just park anywhere in here. It's kind of a line, right? How about over? I don't know. That doesn't look right. Let's go over here. That was fun. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Join my Discord if you would. I'm doing this 7-2. One of my guys, who's actually a pilot for Ryanair, asked me to do this. Took time out of my schedule to do it. Brakes park. Go to the overhead. Seatbelt sign is off. APU is running. You can chop them. Oh, we gotta get down here where I can see them. Let's do secure checklist. We get GSX going here. Request deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
See what he's done. Secure checklist is complete. Big thing is engines are definitely shut down. Hydraulics are good. I want to make sure the beacons are off. Open the main cargo door. Yeah. Beacons are off. Nav lights are on. All the other lights are off. Runway turn-offs are off. Okay, yep. He wants me to open the cargo door. That's a preset, not 9, guys. There we go. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Main cargo door's opening. Let's go outside. All right, that was fun. So yeah, that's sort of the quick start guide. Everything you need to know to get started. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Here we are at Nashville, by the way, in the cargo area. Looks like we picked a good cargo area. I've parked better before. A lot of fun. Awful good time. It gives you that message until the door is fully open. And there it goes. Takes a while. There it goes. That's fully open now. What do you guys think? I mean, come on. This is a great model. All right, don't forget to subscribe, join the Discord. I'll leave the links to the checklist for the Flight Sim Studio. Definitely buy this add-on. I highly recommend this add-on. Time's out. See ya.